We're very excited to have you with us, and more excited about the Gius of Zechariah and all the folks. We have 7 kids, but actually we have much more. And I want to start and wish you all the best, and בעזרת השם, תצא לשלום, תחזור לשלום.
אמן.
עכשיו זה, אני אכבד את הרב, לא, את ראובן, ככה לומר כמה מילים, וזה ככה.
So I guess I was asked to speak because of like the Shir Dalet. I was in the army also, older enough brother, but just because I have a nicer beard than all the army guys. It's a little bit of a difficult thing to pick what to speak about, because on one hand I want to speak to the mitgaisim, and the other hand I want to say something that's really shavu l'chol nefesh. So I actually just saw just the other day an idea that I thought about a lot since when I was in the army and since I've been in the army, reflecting on my experience. But I think it's really shavu to everyone in Avodas Hashem. And it's a very small, very short paragraph from the Chovas HaTalmidim, right at the end, in the Tzivuim Ba'azharos. And I'll explain after I read. כשם שאי אפשר לעובד בלא רצון חזק, כך אי אפשר לו בלא החלטה חזקה. אבל קשה לקנות את ההחלטה הרבה יותר מאשר את הרצון. כי לרצון עוזרים גם אחרים כגון שכל ומחשבה חזקה. וההחלטה בתורת ההחלטה, עיקר קיומה בשעה שכל זולתה אפסו לא רצון חזק, אף לא שכל. החלטה רק לשם החלטה. What's he saying? בעצם, we have two kochos when we decide to do something. One koch is the koch haratzon, right? We want to do something. I feel a desire. I want to do it. The other, that's what he calls the koch haratzon. The other one is just decision making. I don't necessarily have a drive to do it. I don't feel like doing it, but it's koch hachlata. For example, most of us do this every day when we get out of bed. No one wants to get out of bed. I don't want to get out of bed usually. And we get up just because you make a hachlata without any ratzon, without seichel. You don't go through a shear in your head while you're getting out of bed. Just you get out of bed, you make a hachlata, you make a decision to get out of bed. And the truth is that this is something that's even more important to our growth in Avodas Hashem, both in yeshiva and certainly outside of yeshiva, where things are a whole lot harder and there's a lot less ratzon. Right? It's crucial to Avodas Hashem, and certainly we prat in the army when things, achas kama v'kama, when there's much less ratzon and it's very difficult sometimes. That's the idea of nasa v'nishma, that we're going to do, even though we don't feel, even though we don't understand, we can't think, we're going to do. It's very lemaisa avoda even in yeshiva. There's a lot of Sadarim are hard, long Sadarim, last half of afternoon Seder a lot of times is very difficult, late at night. But it's so important to have, at least I think, a little bit of a Seder Kavua. At some point when everyone has their thing, when they know it's difficult, and they're learning just because they're learning. And it's even though they don't feel it, it's very difficult. And certainly in the army, it's extremely difficult to learn, Kamavan. You didn't have a lot of time, and you didn't feel it. And if you were up to it, you made a decision, and you just did it, without the Ratzon at all. And that's how you grow in Avodas Hashem. You don't grow from having the Ratzon. The Ratzon comes after you build yourself up, and you do, even though you don't feel it. And Lamaisa, that's I think the best advice I can give to both the mitgaisim and also to everyone who's soon going to be leaving yeshiva, or even who's going to be staying in yeshiva, that in life, there can be a lot of times when you don't feel, and it's crucial to develop and have chashivas for that koach hachlata. That koach to decide to do it and do l'maisa even though you don't feel. And when you do that and you emphasize that, and that's your avoda, so then you have a chance to really succeed and to really grow. The bracha to the mitgaisim and to all of us is that we should to be able to develop and use that koach hachlata properly, and should have Gius kal b'naim and Zecharia.
The transitions last week from the we started this off I think when we spoke a few years ago in Ulamechat. And it was about the same tkufa of time, same parashios, similar parashios. We just transitioned from the end of Shmos to the beginning of Vayikra. Okay, the end of Shmos deals with the end of the siyum of the binyan Mikdash itself. Okay, the beginning of Vayikra starts with the avodah, and we have essentially a relationship between the binyan Mikdash and avodah, which is a mixed relationship. Okay, it's possibly, according to our first, that's expressed in the machlokas between, or not, the distinction between the way that B'Tzalel, the order that B'Tzalel was told to make the mikdash, and the order that Moshe was told to make the mikdash, to the mikdash. One way to look at the relationship between the mikdash and the avodah is that the mikdash is there in order for us to do avodah. Our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the avodah, is the korbanos, is the constant thing which we do every day, and the binyan of the mikdash is a hachana for that. We're nothing until we start the korbanos. And everything else is a hachana for the korbanos. And the other way, the other perception, the other way to look at it is that no. The mikdash, the binyan of the mikdash is the ikar. It expresses the fact that the Shekhinah is there intrinsically. Shekhinah is always there. Now, the way we have to express that, the way we have to show that is by doing something, the way we interact with that mikdash. For that, we do the avoda is the way that we interact with that kedusha which is there. But the ikar at the center is the Shekhinah, the fact that there's a mikdash there. And we interact through the avoda. And those are the two ways, and obviously like most chilukim, or like many chilukim, it doesn't have to be either or, we have two aspects. One of the ways that we show the aspect of the mikdash itself and the kedushas and mikdash itself is that we have in certain type of avodas, and for example, in the shmira of the mikdash. Okay, the shmira of the mikdash where we have the different kohanim, different mishmeres, we go and they do a shmira where they do a sivuv, and they're not being shomer from necessarily from people from the outside. They're not being shomer from marauders. They're being shomer to show chashivus kedushas hamakom, yiras hamakom. Here we have a situation where there's lots of things lots of different aspects to that which we do. Sefer and Sefer. We have the aspect of our limud in yeshiva, which is where we're expressing what we do with kedusha and what we do in kedusha, and the uniqueness of not just limud Torah, but limud Torah in Eretz Yisrael. That's akin, it's parallel to the avodah. And then we have another aspect, which is where we show the chashivus of the makom itself, not for the mitzvot hatzluyos ba'aretz, not for etzem the makom itself. The concept of kedushas hamakom, and that expression that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us and we're within HaKadosh Baruch Hu's home. Okay, I'm really not going to be talking to our wonderful Megaisim. I'm going to be talking to everybody else. Okay, my feeling, and I'm a little bit older and I'm not even at your stage. I have a tremendous kinna right now. Okay, we have the shomrim leaving their talents, going off to be shomer and show the chashivus of the makom. And again, my kina comes also from experience. If I think back, the tkufa of my tkufa in the army was, and I say this, for me that was my single greatest rise in ruchnius and in avodas Hashem that I ever had. There were other hachlatas I made which had a tremendous impression on me. My single greatest growth in ruchnius unquestionably came in my tkufa in the army. Now I'm not saying that's why I'm makanen them. I'm not makanen them just because of the ruchnius which is added them. But that ruchnius came from, it wasn't just a ruchnius of, that was the time which I happened to work best on my ruchnius. That was a tkufa where I was b'shlichut, b'mesima, it was a tkufa where everything was on my shoulders. And I had the achrayus of myself, I felt like I had the achrayus of Am Yisrael, I had the achrayus to do it right, and again, without getting into all the different hashkafic pieces, every single person should be mekane as they look at our shlichim who are walking off and being shomer. They are being shomer for marauders. They're not just walking around to show chashivos, but in that they're also showing chashivos. Okay? There's also being shomer, also showing chashivos, and there's not a single person in this room who shouldn't be asking, who shouldn't have a feeling, who shouldn't have the cheshbon or the question, why aren't I going out and doing it? Now you might have your cheshbon and there's a reason why. But the question should be asked, why am I not with them? Why am I not also being mamali this chelik? Every single person should be asking that question. And then some people will have answers, some people might not have answers. Okay? But everyone should be asking the question, why am I not also going out and showing the chashivas hamakom? Okay? I have a tremendous kinna. I still want to reflect back on my moments as I walked in, which was a tremendous anxiety. And mind you, your chayalim who are leaving have a tremendous kinna for you also, I assure you. Okay? At this point, they're also saying, I want to be osek in avoda. I want to be osek in avoda. But we should be sitting there and saying, I want to be osek in binyan. I want to be osek in binyan. We should always constantly have our chaverim who were mekane and good things. We should always have chaverim like these who lead the way in a certain area, in a certain chelik, who made certain hard decisions. And Bezrat Hashem, we should go b'shveinu as our shlichim, and we are all very proud of you, and we all have a tremendous amount of jealousy for you, and you should be olam ma'ala. Right. I took it off before I started speaking. That's what called take your time.
I can't get my phone in the middle. It's like a little bit rude.
Both of mine.
I'll say a couple things very, very
Can you just say that out loud to the guys? It's rude to take out your phone. That's
quickly. The first thing is really thank you very much for. This is very beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. Moments like this are very special. I say this as someone that I'm emotionally moved at things like this. I find it to be exceptionally inspiring. I think even just the fact that what it represents as far as people who are moving to a bit of a new culture, maybe getting reacquainted with one that it's really beautiful. Moments I spent a lot of time in America. I moved back here, a year and a half ago. I don't remember in all my time there moments like this. It's a moment which is filled with expectation. It's filled with a sense of mission. It's the notion that you have people amongst us who made decisions that are just inspiring. It's really beautiful. I've said in the past, and I'll say it, as a parent, it's one of the greatest zechuyos that I have to be able to talk with my kids about how they know, they know Uriel who's in the army now, and they know 4 guys who are going to the army. It's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful in a chinuch perspective for my kids to be able to understand that and to know that and to just identify with it. It makes it very real for them, and it highlights something which is so beautiful. It's moving. I wasn't zoche to do it, but Baruch Hashem, I'm zoche that I can at least, as a father, point to people that my kids know that it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I think I've been thinking. I mean, the guys. I was very moved at the Shabbos also. They had a week or 2 ago. I think all the time about a series of psukim in the Megillah. Mordechai and Esther, it's a moment when Klal Yisrael is not in the simplest of places. And Esther's not sure what her reaction is going to be. And Mordechai says something, and it's something which I think about all the time, and I think about it because it's a charge which is always there throughout our lives. When Mordechai says to Esther, who knows, im la'es kazos, you got malchus, who knows? Esther, we need you now. The whole story, your whole life, and what's happened to you that put you in this kind of a situation. Who knows, says Mordechai to Esther, if it's not all about this moment. That we God put you in a place. He orchestrated so much. You're the wife of the king of the most powerful person. Now is the chance, Esther. Now is your chance to make the right decision. Revach v'atzala, it's going to come from somewhere. The Rebbeinu Shalom always takes care of us. But Esther, now is your chance. Now it's up to you. When Klal Yisrael needs you, are you going to make the right choice? I think about that all the time in my own life. Whether I've made, we ask ourselves those questions all the time. Does the Klal need us? And if so, what is the choice? Am I making the right? And to be in a room with people, we're celebrating the fact tonight. We're celebrating the fact that there are 4 people who have made the choice that the Klal needs them in a very real and significant way. These are people that have, whether they're kravi or not, are trying to impact and be relevant in Tzahal in the most significant way possible. And it's people that when the Mordechais of the world said, it's true, Revach v'atzala, it's going to be from somewhere Klal Yisrael is going to be taken care of, but Miyodeh, who knows? It's about moments like this that everything is structured for us to make that right decision, and to have 4 people that they made the hachlata, that they want to dedicate themselves to a klal, that they want to join a nation that's here in Eretz Yisrael. This is our place. It is our homeland. That's a Tanakh point. That's a Chazal point. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and just to really to partake in it. It's one of the greatest zechuyos. It's such a beautiful and special thing, and it's a real, one of the perks of my job is being able to participate in things like this. I have a lot of friends that would love to be at things like this. One of the real perks is to be able to know the people in this room and to have relationships with people who are committing to go to it's a beautiful thing. On a personal note, it's inspiring, and hopefully for all of us in the room, it's a time to reflect that there are times where we have people who make a decision, which is it's not an easy decision. It's a hard decision. It's one that is, it's what the klal needs. I'm in a position, and am I going to say, I'm here, and I want to give it my all. It's something which is so beautiful. Hopefully everybody coming together can give really a point of chizuk for everybody, for those that are staying, for those that are going, to know that there are people here who clearly care very, very deeply about all of you. And that's something which is really special, and hopefully, we should have more moments like this. We should have moments where we come together, and it's again a real thing. It's really very, very beautiful. And thank you for including me and for allowing me to have the opportunity. Real hatzlacha rabba to everyone.
So we have a little 2 more surprises.
Okay. Hold off on the benching.
So in Hebrew we say "En chagiga bli uga," so we have a cake. And we have unfortunately you can't come, so we have something special that we send. So meanwhile you have the cake and I'll arrange all that. תמונה של 4